Okay, this is part 2 of the LaserPecker Chronicles, the LaserPecker 4. There's other portable laser engravers on the market, but this is the first dual laser. So you have an infrared laser, you have a diode laser, you've got a lot of material options and a lot of engraving and cutting options with this thing. Right now I'm going to look at the accessories. One is the slide extension, which radically increases your cutting area, allows you to do big batches of stuff if you want to, or just larger pieces. I'm also going to look at the rotary unit, which allows you to do cylindrical objects. I'm going to do wood, but the typical use case is tumblers and all that craft stuff that's laser engraved. I'm also going to look at the air purifier, and I'm going to test it with an air quality meter and see if it's working correctly. I've got the rotary unit installed, which is basically just sitting on here. There's no real installation. I've got it cabled correctly. It's communicating with the machine. I've got the distance set correctly. I've got it roughly center. I'm going to take this stool leg and I'm going to just engrave some information about the wood species and the chair on it. And we're going to wrap it around this object. I'm going to start a previous project here, connect the device through USB, and then I'm going to set it to rotary extension. Okay, so that's exactly where I want it in there. Let's do a preview. Yeah, and that's looking great. Laser engraving, I'm going to do one pass, 50 power at depth of 10. I'll just do it 5. I'm going to turn on the air purifier and let's go for it. Let's engrave it. You know what? Hold on. Let's just dial it back a bit. 80, 33, sure. Okay, this should give us something. It's still weak. I'm gonna go all the way here. Okay, so let's do power all the way. Let's do a little post-project analysis here. So this, hold on, this, it couldn't replicate the exact same move. So it actually kind of did them in separate places, which is interesting because it knows exactly where it is. It should almost have that repeatable CNC-like precision. This is the first pass. It's a little ghostly. Once I jacked up the power, it's much more legible. It's still a little weak. Really, I'd have to go back into a testing phase with this exact kind of something from this same board and really look at what's going to give me that nice, dark, carved in, sharp look that I want, and just go through those settings and then take those settings into the next iteration. This is a nice straight piece, very predictable, 36 millimeter diameter. It's very square here, and I've got it pushed well into the chuck. The chuck is tight, everything is good, but it really is just not rotating correctly. It's off somehow. If something is too long and it's not going to be captured by the suction cup, the suction cup's just straight up not going to work for capturing wood. A pin, if you could replace the suction cup with the pin and it was all set to match this exactly, then that would work, because you could sort of just stab it into the wood, just like a regular tailstock on a lathe, basically. I find these rollers, they kind of kick the wood off. Seems to be kind of working okay here. Sometimes it just sort of just kicks the wood off and it can slip inside the chuck. So what I gotta do is really go through the work holding, the chuck, the tailstock, everything, and really examine what's gonna be the most stable, straight environment for the wood. So the moral of the story of all this activity is this is not going to happen instantaneously. You have to go through testing. You have to figure out how your work is going to be, whether it be wood or glass or whatever, how it's going to be held in the most solid, stable way, that it's dimensionally straight. You're gonna have to test your materials separately. It's not just plug and play based on the recommendation. Every material has its own demands, and you're gonna have to go through the settings to really find what's best, the effect that you want to achieve with the laser itself, and then having everything working in concert together. So again, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was the setup. You're just gonna have to do some testing and learning. I'm far from mastery at this point, but I have every confidence that I will be able to do it in the future. The next accessory from the bundle that I'm going to show you is the slide extension. The purpose of the slide extension is to just enlarge the carving area or engraving area. So it expands it from around, I think it's 6x4 area to 6x12, I think, or 6x11.5. This is where you get into the fact that you're kind of doing a workaround. It's a very elegant, very well worked out workaround, but you're getting away from the small form factor and the portability. And again, you have to kind of address the issue, why are you buying this thing in the first place? It's really, the headline of why you're buying it is going to be, it's a portable, small portable device. And this just gives you another option, but really the main show for you is that it's a small portable device, and you're going to be working within those limits, which is kind of that 6" by 4" kind of zone. So small stuff, and portability, and the fact that you can manipulate it in so many different positions. Okay, so the air quality is excellent in here right now. It's really good air. There's hardly any particles in the air. This is amazing. Okay, let's see what it goes up to when we start running this job. That was the slide extension finding its home position. I'm going to open a previously made project. I'm going to connect the device. USB. I'm going to tell it that we're in slide extension mode. Okay, so this design is going to go on this 11 by maybe 5 panel. This is going to be the back panel for a box that I'm making for a trade show, and it just shows some of the wood choices that you have for a specific chair that I make. I've already made the design here. I'm going to go into preview, and we'll see how it previews, because it can actually draw boundaries because it's it's a larger space than the laser will allow. So you see how the preview works now. So now this line here indicates we're in focus, everything's good. This line here indicates the top of the overall square, bounding square for the design. And when I go to preview and continue, it shows you the bottom. So it just sort of cycles through what the whole thing is. Got it in the right position, kind of basically want it centered. Got it at power 100, depth 30. Okay, let's see how that turned out. You know what, I actually really like it. So the air quality meter, just to update, the air quality meter didn't budge from good air, but it's still, there's a lot of smell. So there has to be particles. To be fair, I wasn't looping everything through correctly. It should be like, there should be a loop through on the air purifier to go out a window. Let's get to this. This looks good. There's a nice depth to it. I can even wet this down a little bit to see what the contrast will be like. You can tell all the different densities of oak. There's just different densities in the surface where it's a little bit darker and whatnot. It doesn't have that look where it's like fully branded in, but it's, you know, it's just so sharp and so nice. Okay, so I've tested all 3 of the accessories. What are the main takeaways? First of all, I've only had about a week and a half with this thing. You need some time with it. You need some time to acclimatize to what it does, and you especially need some time to go through every material that you want to, whether it be wood, whether it be aluminum, whether it be brass, anything, you really gotta go in and look at all the settings, think about which laser you're gonna use, which is the most appropriate. Set up material tests, do all the different strengths, and really look at it and really think about what effect you want to achieve. Write it down, be a little scientist for that, and log all the things that are going to give you the engraving that you want. If you could just buy a product just for looks, this is probably the number one choice. It just looks so good. They've designed this so well, aesthetically speaking. But you really got to think of functionality. What are the strengths of this unit? And it is the small form factor, it's the portability, it weighs hardly anything. And you really got to think small. If small is what you're doing, if you're doing, keychain small stuff, whatever small, if you're going out on a job site, if you're doing portable stuff, if you're doing just weird angles, this is the unit for you. If you're doing larger stuff, then this is not the unit for you. Thanks to LaserPecker, and this was a great experience using this system. It was just very, very interesting to review, and I'm really going to enjoy using it into the future for all kinds of things. I'm sure you'll see it again. Thanks for watching.